Okay, so I'm doing a stream on this Sunday with special guest Tikibomber, and you can kind of introduce yourself and tell us what your channel is about and what you do here on YouTube.
Okay, hello everyone. I am Tikibomber, and I happen to be I identify myself as a feminist, and no, not one of them radical third wave feminists. I tend to be more for third world country women's issues and offering a voice out for them, especially when it comes to calling out other feminists with their bullshit. I also support men's rights movement. I create YouTube videos. I'm trying to do a little bit of parody on several YouTube videos right now, much like how I recently did one about Lacey Green and her ideal on sex and why everyone literally thinks Lacey Green is just fucked up in the head. And in that video, I had managed to find out that she was a Mormon, so that like explained a whole lot with her. But outside of that, I try to do debate and debunk videos for social justice warriors, for against other feminists and against Black Lives Matter movement individuals. I kind of do the same thing on my personal Facebook page, but I have other stuff going on there, so you won't see that. Yeah, you can find me on YouTube at Tikibomber. You can also find me on the sealion.club at Tikibomber. And I actually just got my Twitter account back earlier this week after 5 years of not being able to log into it because I forgot the email and the password. So there is that
Oh
available
God.
as well at Tikibomber. So yeah.
Okay. I can kind of start it off because with my last stream where I had the debate, I know you had some very strong words in the chat room, so I thought we could I actually start off with that one because that's well we I had a Marxist my
Marxist
channel, and
feminist. It
yeah.
was a Marxist feminist. And I'm going to be honest with you right now. For me, identifying as a feminist means that men cannot be feminists at all. They can identify as a feminist if they want. However, I'm being flat out and honest. Women in the feminist movement will never see men as a feminist. And I'm being upfront and honest. Men can never be feminists. You can support the feminist movement, but you can never be feminists. And, you know, for all the guys out there who are sitting there thinking, feminism sounds like a great movement for me to join. I can go ahead and help out these women. Yeah, you can support feminists, but you can never actually be a feminist. So I don't even know how or why they have men running their organization when it's supposed to be about women helping women.
Yeah, I kind of find the concept strange myself, to be honest. Um, I wouldn't actually label I said this multiple times where I wouldn't actually label myself as an MRA or a feminist. I would just call myself an egalitarian. I support like a wing, but like for women's rights, which need to be looked at in the third world and developing countries, because that's a huge issue. And men's rights, not just here but also in developing countries, because workers' rights, and you have just poor people being exploited for money. So that's how I view myself. Um, and not just when I had the debate, but I often find myself when I'm talking to or feminist, radical feminists at least, or I would just call them social justice warriors just to be more specific, is they always have this Marxist leaning of everything, or it's intersectional leaning, where everything has to be 50-50 everywhere, basically. This utopia of which is really not possible, to be honest.
Mm-mm. It really is not possible. It is actually an insane ideal to think that everything could be perfect around you as an individual and that everything else would just fall into place. Actually, a lot of the ideals that these people, these individuals throw out there as being their perfect world reminds me of an X-Files episode where Fox Mulder and Dinah Scully, they find a genie rolled up in a rug in a trailer who was granting the brothers wishes. Like one brother wished to be invisible, and then he went to go and, he had to strip off his clothes so he was naked. But he goes to try and rip this girl that was walking down the street, and on his way crossing the street, because she was on the other side, being invisible, he gets hit by a car, and nobody knew he was there. Like, they even made it into a joke where his invisible dead body still lays on the side of the road. You could smell something foul, but nothing's there. And then all of a sudden, this jogger trips on the dead body, not knowing what they tripped on. But the genie itself, she had granted Mulder's wish for world peace. And what she had done is she had took away everybody else but herself and Mulder from the world. Because everybody has their own opinion and ideas about what world peace is. So he had to retract his wish, and that brought him back down to like one wish left. So yeah, it was actually a very interesting episode for me to watch, and it's the very thing I think about every time these people like to sit there and promote like political correctness on what peace is, political correctness on what race is, on racist is, and everything else that they're deeming to be perfect, because their views of what they seem to see perfect is going to be obscured just enough so that they are the only ones who would be in a world full of perfection with just themselves, nobody else.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen this ideology being spread over Europe. I mean, we also have like the right extremism with the Christians and Islam also here in Europe. But recently, the left has. Because we're in the West, the majority is basically the social justice warriors, because they also are usually pretty rich and have the possibility to actually implement a lot of stuff, like suggest laws or try to change public opinion where they have power that way. I don't know how it is in North America, how it's been lately, but I kind of had my eyes open ever since Gamergate started. I don't know if you've seen this a long time coming, or if it's just recently you've seen it. I don't know how you kind of look at it that way.
When it came to Gamergate, that's when I first started to notice things were going obscured. I really wasn't paying that much attention to Gamergate because you had the people who would, I do know that people would report negatively on video games and video gamers' impacts on society. And of course, my thing had always been, okay, but that's their opinion. It's not my opinion. So I'm not going to, go off of what they're saying to be true or not true, because I know what's true. And then when I heard what actually triggered Gamergate, which was the dev's girlfriend who was sleeping around to give the developer games good reviews. And then he was put on a permanent gag order, unable to speak out against this kind of stuff that she was doing because of her. That's when I started to go into a little more involved with it. And around that time, it was Anita Sarkeesian coming out saying that video gamers are toxic to our society, and this is why. And then everything else just kind of fell into place right after that, with me hearing and actually learning about the men's rights movement at that time. So, like, I literally had, like, one huge crash course involved when it came to Gamergate, and it was a pretty massive life changing event for me. But I never deterred myself from being a feminist, and I've never I did change my views from centering them on how I felt compared to what women in third world countries are actually going through, like with the poor health cares that they're having, the actual high rate rape crimes that they're involved in, the high murder crimes that they're involved in, uh, high pregnancy rates that they unwanted pregnancies and so forth.
Yeah, I was kind of I've been noticing it because I've been a huge gamer that I've been noticing at least in gaming that it started like when Anita Sarkeesian suddenly got all that money claiming harassment, and ever since all these social justice warriors claim that they're all harassed and basically allergic to facts and call harassment every time they go get called out on their crap. And I admire someone like Christina Hoff Summers, the other one, what she's called. But she and another feminist, they both did an interview, and they're very intelligent people. It's on the American Enterprise Institute channel, I think. She has an Italian last name. But those are two feminists I really admire when uh, um, people similar to you in your own circles. Like I'm, for example, left leaning, and I should be the first one to call out crap when I see it, or bullshit when I see it, and that's the case right now with the when it came to the gaming industry. I saw that, and now also the far left, as Vindicator calls it. Eh, I mean, they they're really destructive in everything they come into, and it's really sad to see because art in general is getting censored. I mean, we had the cover of Batgirl that got censored. We had the guy who had the Shirtgate scandal,
Mm-hmm.
who brought a man to tears, which was really heartbreaking to see. I mean, the guy is probably like not the most socially equipped because he's a scientist and he's not aware of all this, and they basically shamed this guy for wearing whatever he wanted, and because he wore it for a friend, basically to honor. It was a woman who designed the shirt, and landing on a comet, which was never done before, and all these social justice warriors, whatever they could focus on, was that he had a so-called sexist shirt, instead of actually celebrating the fact that this was a huge breakthrough in the scientific community.
And honestly, it was a really huge breakthrough for Michael to have made in the scientific community. And I do agree with Christina Hoff Sommers on how the feminist movement should have been more focused on the other women that were actually on his team. I think he had 2 women on his team out of a small group of 7 people. And that was actually pretty cool. Like, their jobs and roles and how this was all accomplished is an important factor to point out. But instead, you have these political correctness wannabe bitches sitting there complaining about his shirt being sexist and misogynistic and stuff like that because they just want a reason to complain. And to me, that is not even an excuse to sit there and state that what he did was a good thing or a bad thing, but it was literally a reason for them to find a thing to fight about because he is a white male and he is an easy target due to the fact that he is a scientist, due to the fact that he doesn't have a lot of social interactions outside of his small group of scientists who work with on landing that pod on a moving comet. I mean, honestly, I would love to see some of these women who are bitching about his shirt do the exact same thing. Like, don't
Uh,
complain about
yeah.
something unless you could do what he can and what he just accomplished.
Yeah, I doubt it because all these so-called social justice warriors are just rich um, kids who have yeah, rich parents and just completed their gender studies or communication degrees, which are like the easiest one to. So I doubt that's gonna happen. I mean, when you look at Brianna Wu, all the money she had, and the, the bad job she did with all that money. I think she got like 300,000 or 500,000 for dollars from her parents, and she managed to make that crap of a game. Is just astonishing. They're so inept and so bubble wrapped and protected from the world that defensive. I mean, you have people getting PTSD on Twitter or claiming that, which is a real insult to actual people who have seen some traumatic stuff and are actually affected by either war or seeing something horrific and minimalizing it by claiming, "Oh, you're a bitch. I got PTSD."
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge slap and an insult to the people who have actually gone through traumatic stuff. That one, and that's one thing I love to argue with a lot is the rape culture. Because there is no rape culture in the West. As much as people love to sit there and whine that it exists, the only reason why it quote unquote exists is because people are constantly trying to point out everything and claim that it's rape. If people are literally masturbating to your image on the internet, you're calling that thought rape. There's no such thing as thought rape. They're not penetrating you specifically. They are fantasizing about wanting to do that, and it is actually a lot more safer that way. You sitting there claiming that they're thought raping you is like telling people they're not allowed to write stories, like at all. No more Harry Potter, no more 50 Shades of Grey, no more Twilight, no more stories in general because it's thought rape.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I would, if I can compare it, like the extreme Christians who like 10 years ago, who wanted to censor people, like gay marriage and all that kind of stuff. They wanted to control what others did. Basically, thought police people that way, and basically say, you're offending me and my belief, because I believe in Jesus, and you're not allowed to do whatever you want because it goes against the way of God or whatever. And with the
Um,
social justice wars, it's
there
the
was
patriarchy.
there was a meme that was created that spread all over the United States really fast because of that. And it would go, you as a Christian telling a gay couple they cannot get married because it goes against your belief is like me telling you you cannot eat that donut because it's not in my diet.
Basically.
That's literally what it
Also,
is, and it was
yeah,
a hilarious one.
but 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 anyone else say this, but I saw. I don't know. Did you see Cat Black or Justin Riley or whatever his fucking name is? These days? He changes it all the time. Yeah, you know, the non-binary, lesbian, trans. Justin
He's a
Riley.
trender. He's a trender. He is okay.
Yeah,
Justin is literally just a guy who likes to have medium long length hair and wear makeup. If he wears clothes, that's fine too. You know who else does that? Cross dressers. He's not a transsexual. If anything, he's just a cross dresser, and that's okay. But there's no such
because
thing
yeah,
as a non binary gender. There's only three physical genders and two mental genders. The three physical genders are male, female, and hermaphrodite. The two mental genders are male and female. And the reason why it's mental is because the hermaphrodites, who would actually be able to understand a lot of the transgendered individuals in their transitions, live being both genders. And a lot of the times they either fall into female. There's a very few cases where they go and fall into male genders. And they actually would go and develop, they have the fully developed, they have developed genitals for both genders. Like there would be a woman who actually has balls, literal balls. There are women who have penises. There are guys who have ovaries. These are hermaphrodites, and they actually have both testosterones and, they have the hormones for both genders, estrogen and testosterones, running through them, and it gets really insane when they go through puberty. Like, holy fucking shit, you think trying to identify yourself on the internet is an issue? These people are having a literal mental breakdown about their gender identity. Because a lot of times if they actually want to go more with the man than the woman, they would have to start taking medication to get more testosterone and hopefully even out and remove most of the estrogen from their system. And they're going crazy because they're a guy, they're a dude with a vagina, they're a dude with boobs, and they just are having this huge identity crisis because they don't know if they are actually male or female because of it. And by the time they actually mature more, they know that the roles that they're going to fit into more. When they're taking the medications, they actually fill in better with the roles more suited for them. That is when they actually settle down and go, yeah, I am a man, or yes, I am a woman. They don't identify as non-binary. They don't identify as a lesbian who is transitioning into a woman. Their transition most of the time happens during their puberty, because that is the time to get with these people so that their hormones are not jumping every which direction.
Yeah, the reason I kind of brought up Justin Riley or whatever he's going by is his most recent video on you're basically transphobic or ableist or whatever if you have preferences. And I saw all these YouTubers talking about how stupid it is I'm gonna call it Justin Riley because he has a male name. He's a guy. He's basically using the same argument that the extreme Muslims or Christians are using with the gay conversion theory. So if you're straight and not attracted to like the same sex, you're basically a homophobe or a transphobe or whatever. And I didn't see anyone actually look at it that way, because that's what this actually is from Cat Blank and Justin Riley, because they are now shaming and want people gay or at least bisexual to some extent, and basically love everyone, and that's not gonna be a thing anytime soon.
No, it's not going to be a thing anytime soon. However, it is funny that you bring up Cat Black, because Cat Black had also stated that Irish are not technically white people. And myself being Irish, an Irish descendant for like the 5th gen, I can go outside and be automatically accused of being a descendant from a slave owner because I am white. So I wouldn't take anything Cat Black says to be truthful, because she's just trying to make it out so that the only people who cannot be oppressed are white people, when in fact it is white people who are being oppressed. As far as Justin goes, like I said, he's a trans-trender. If anything, I would give him the benefit of a doubt of being a cross-dresser. And as I said before, there's nothing wrong with that. But you are right on one thing. When it comes to people who sit there and say, well, if you don't date this person, then you're being this. Okay, my thing is, I have a preference. I don't really care about the size. Most of the time, I don't care about the skin color. It depends on the personality and the attitude and, common interests. And there have been, I've actually dated guys. I've dated football players. I've dated people who were disabled. I've dated black people. I've dated white people. I've dated fat people. I've dated nerds. And the people I feel most comfortable with are nerds, preferably gaming nerds. The issue is that when people sit there and say that they play video games, and I try and ask them, what games do you like to play? They sit there and say, oh, we just like to play Call of Duty and NBA basketball games. Okay, what other games do you like to play? No, those are the only games that we have. Those are the only games that we play. So I'm just like, all right. As a gamer, I do have a preference. I do not like Call of Duty at all. In fact, I call Call of Duty a fake game. It is probably the only first-person shooting game I call a fake game. And the sports title games for the console systems, that's just not me. Yes, it is a game for a game system. It's just not for me. I don't have a real interest in it, and I know that I would not enjoy myself playing these games. More so, those kind of open up the door for me to say, okay, not interested in you. I'm going my own way now. And, it's kind of bad because, if you were to see him, you would think I wouldn't like him because of his skin color. He was black. You would think I wouldn't like him because he was fat, which is not true. I've dated fat guys before. I've dated black guys before. I refuse to try and get socially involved with outside of the name basis segment of an introduction to people who just play a small category of video games when there's so many more games out there to play. And it's the same thing for people who go out and date. If they don't want to date you because you're a transgender or because you're a cross-dresser or because you happen to be disabled, that's their preference. You telling them that you telling these people they are being discriminative towards individuals much like yourself is like me telling you you're a cross-dresser and you need to stop being a fucking transgender. Stop sitting there saying that you're a transgender when you're not. You're being a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, it's a kind of the same reasoning if it came to like food. If someone was lactose intolerant and they were calling that person a food bigot because they weren't eating the food they were allergic to. So it's a bad analogy, but it's kind of the same, if you know what I mean. It's just some things in this world just don't mesh together, and for having a preference, and I'm personally myself, I go after personality. I don't give a goddamn rat's ass of what kind of skin color you have. But I live in Norway. Most people, like 90% of people, have a white skin tone. So that's most likely what I'll be dating or most likely be attracted to. So is, and this thought policing is really what gets on my nerves, because nobody has a goddamn right to say who I am attracted to and who I'm not attracted to.
Well, the thought policing itself also infringes on the one thing that everybody is allowed to have. And it is the one thing, regardless if you believe that you're an atheist or Christian, Catholic, Muslim, whatever. That thing happens to be free will. You do the thought policing, you're taking away people's free will.
Yeah, I mean, they would. I also think that they would call you the wrong type of feminist as well, because you don't have the intersectional values they do.
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, just look at the BBC. They're basically discriminating actively against men, so that women and women, minorities, and even disabled people are getting the jobs, even though they might not be good enough to get them, which is really mind-boggling to me. This, after the West basically being the reason for the wall going down, it's gone so far at the other end that the West is now starting to become what most of our parents and grandparents fought against.
Mhm.
It just
Well,
blows my mind.
the things that I'm going to say this right now. My grandfather, my mom, on my dad's side of the family, had served in World War II. He was at Pearl Harbor when it got attacked by the kamikaze pilots. He was in the war because he had just gotten married. His wife had a son who he wanted to try and protect and defend. And he did a really good job with that, because after he got back home, they had 4 more sons, and it was really sad because she ended up passing away right after giving birth to her 5th son. So I don't know what ailments actually affected her. I don't know if that would actually affect me because of, the importance of hereditary illnesses and stuff like that in today's society. On my mom's side, I have a great uncle who served during the Vietnam War. I have a grandfather who was part of the Cold War. I think he was in the Navy. I think he was off at Vietnam as well. My father was in service during the Gulf War. I had an aunt who was in service on my mom's side of the family who was in service during the Gulf War. So I come from a long heritage of military personnel. And we've all served, everyone who's actually served in the military, including my cousin and myself, served because we wanted to protect our friends, we wanted to protect our family, we wanted to protect our nation's free will and freedom of speech. And it's disgusting because you have people sitting there telling people like me, as an example, that I should be this because of XYZ reasons. And the XYZ reasons has nothing to do with the reason why I actually protected this country. Because it's like a male feminist telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to war and the involvements of war, but his friend does because his friend was involved in a war. Okay, I may have not been involved in a war. That doesn't mean I don't know anything about war itself. All right, you're just going off the assumption of who I am as a person, which in this case, I'm just a woman who's never going to see the light of war. Thus, I don't know anything about war. To be honest, I could read a lot more about war in the weapons that I was repairing, than anybody who actually was on the battlefield for just 1 or 2 rounds.
Yeah, and having been a year in the military myself, so I've also served as well because we have basically the draft, but they only take like the people who are actually qualified to get in. So it's not just anyone who gets into and gets to handle a gun, to say it that way.
Well, and that is something that I'm seeing happening right now, is that the government in 2017 is going to fight and open up the draft so that women have to sign up as well. Which means if you want your writer's vote, your right to vote, you would have to sign up for the draft, male or female. And I am actually happy about that, because that means that these people who sit there and complain about having the rights being removed are going to have to sign up for something that they don't want to be a part of. And it's going to involve a lot more peaceful negotiations and a lot less aggressive negotiations to bring about a resolution on ending the argument.
Yeah, I mean, it's also very funny that they have the social justice warriors want to take away the freedom of speech and the freedoms that they themselves are enjoying, and remove it from other people they don't like. It's quite astonishing that they don't see the hypocrisy there when they want to censor art, and just political speech. We've seen in New York, and now the Bill C-16 in Canada.
Yeah, I know for Canada, the Bill 16 is actually a huge setback for them, and it's really sad because of the fact that there are people who will actually run away and abuse the hell out of that bill, to the point where Canada is going to have to rethink, okay, so the only genders we're going to have to identify are these two mental genders, male or female. We're not going to include the gender number 2. We're not going to include the 36,000 other genders that fungi actually have, by scientific proof, by the way.
And just to say you're gender fluid, like, I mean, this instead of getting people together, it's segregating people, because some people who are hiring might not actually hire people because they might risk getting fined for hiring these people in their workplace because they misgender someone that day, and they're not gonna get talked to. They're gonna be isolated and miserable. So this job to be diverse and inclusive is actually doing the opposite, where it isolates people, and like you basically know, like, these people are the people who you have to either treat as special or just avoid entirely, and it just makes people segregate themselves from the others entirely.
Well, it's not only that, but there's also the fact that if you pull in affirmative action over people just because of how they seem to not want to hire you because of your race or disability or something like that, that's not going to be fair. Because if you literally have no qualifications for the job and you go ahead and say affirmative action to get that job, you're literally screwing the company over because you don't know what the fuck you're doing, and you're screwing a person who is more capable, who is actually capable of handling the job and doing the job, over because you want to be a selfish little prick. And I don't like that at all. I really think the affirmative action law should be rewritten.
Yeah, well, we have a, like, I don't know how she, because they have the government here have been wanting quotas on, like, boardrooms, having 30% female, something like that, and it's not working because women in general just choose differently. Not to say there are, like, board members or chairmen or even CEOs in Norway, but we have to accept that men and women are different in general. We are a dimorphic species, and just saying we should get closer to one gender, and men and women are just the same in all ways possible. That's not how it works, and that's not how humans have evolved. So instead of just ignoring it, I think we should embrace it. We should embrace that people are different, and that the two sexes are different.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest, there's literally nothing wrong with you identifying as a man even though you're a woman, but you do like some masculine things. That does not make you gender fluid. That just means that you are a man who likes some you're a man, transgender man, who likes some masculine things, or you happen to like some effeminate things. Like, I full on am a woman. I am not transgendered. I'm not gender fluid or anything like that. I am a woman. I am a female. I'm born and everything. And there are some guy things I happen to enjoy. Like, I like to play video games. I like to watch football. I like to play Dungeons and Dragons and other tabletop games. I love to read comic books. I love to watch action movies, you know? Those are things that are usually associated with men and boys. And I don't care that that I'm being associated as being a guy, especially when I'm not using voice. People always assume that I'm just a guy. I'm okay with that. I'm not going to sit there and bitch. I'm a girl. Can you, like, stop calling me a guy? That's, like, totally insensitive. That kind of stuff just irritates me to begin with. And I really could care less what the gender of the other people are, as long as, similar interests. Similar interests tend to be the best thing to go off of. If you're a girl, you like comic books, that's awesome. Thumbs up to you. Thumbs up from me to you. But you don't have, or if you're a guy who likes to paint your nails, okay, thumbs up to me to you as well from me, because while I do like guy things, there are girl things I still like. I still like to dress up nice. I like to paint my nails. I like to put on makeup. I like to flaunt around in nightgowns when I'm on my days off. There are things that I like to do as guys. There are things I like to do as girls. Some things I wish I could do or could not go through and wish I was a guy for, but outside of that, it's fine.
Yeah, and what I've seen when it comes to like mostly like guy-like spheres. I mean, gaming, at least hardcore gaming, when you play on either console or PC, and you play like the core, let's say
the AAA title games.
Let's just say Destiny for argument's sake, and you're most likely to encounter mostly guys if you had your headset on and you're talking, and some men in these environments most likely will shit talk, like kid around and talk shit to each other. I'm not defending Trump or anything, but when he like talked to the reporter, not that it's anything flattering, and I don't think what he said was anyway good, but there are environments where man just talk like that, blow off steam and shit talk, and sometimes when then some women who aren't familiar with this environment get like offended and want to change this environment, and that's what we're seeing with like comic books, where Marvel is really on the downward spiral. They have implemented so many SJW things with a black what's Iron Lady, and basically trying to remove like the white straight character from the lineup. Captain America is gone, Iron Man is gone, now Hulk is gone as well, Thor is gone. It's Thorina. Hulk is an Asian dude. I mean, and we also see this getting influenced in games where basically every time there's a white protagonist, we have the press or these social justice warriors shaming people because it's mostly a guy sphere, and in the West it's mostly white men who are the biggest demographic, and the people who make the games are mostly white men. Mm-hmm. Not to say that every game is like that. I mean, you have Assassin's Creed is a good example where you have a lot of different characters and skin colors. There are or you can take RPGs and even create your own character, whether a female or a male. So
I'm going to actually stop you real fast and point out a thing here. Depending on the type of games that you're playing, you'll have one of three colors or one of three races as the predominant one. You'll have white, you'll have Asian for all the Final Fantasy games out there, and every single game coming in from Asia. And then you'll also have black. And I say black for the final one because if you look at the best-selling video games for game seasons, like football and basketball and baseball, those three tend to be tops. And those three tend to have predominantly black players on the teams. So you actually have white men, Asians, and black people dominating the video game industry itself. Yes, it is primarily men who are programming these video games. I'm not saying that all of them are white. They could be a mixture of white and Asians because you have a lot of people in Japan who are programming video games as well. But you do have the diversity of white, Asians, and black. You were going to say something?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead. I thought you were. I just wanted you to finish your line of thought.
Yeah, I finished it.
Okay, yeah, because that's what irritates me is when these it's not just women. It's like also it's these rich, sheltered kids that not familiar with it and want to be like the cool kids and are invade a territory and just want to change it because they're offended by something, and that just gets on my nerve because there has been so much stigma on games, and now that it's suddenly starting to become a cool thing, there's still a stigma. I mean, when you're at a party, and the first thing it's not the first thing you tell someone, "Oh, I'm a gamer." That's not like. There's still a social stigma around gaming, but it's not as bad as it was around the 90s, where you could have been bullied just for playing games, and all this crap about games leading to school shootings, on like the Christian rights thing. It's satanic and all this kind of crap. I mean, and now the other wing is trying to it's sexism, misogyny, racism, all this crap. Gaming has no limits. The only limit is your imagination, and you can make your own games and you can create your own characters, your own story, and there is no more egalitarian art form than actual gaming, and these idiots don't seem to get that.
No, they don't, and it's really sad. I wish that these people would actually leave my video games alone. I don't care if I'm playing as a male character or a female character. I don't care if the female character has these overly sized, humongous boobs and is in this skimpy skin costume, or happens to be dressed in casual wear with a size -A cupped breasts. I really don't care what my character looks like as long as three things are involved. The game mechanics are actually playable. The storyline is actually really easy to follow, and the story itself is intriguing enough for me to stay hooked and continue to play the game.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if you saw this with the Polygon where they had their hands on with Doom, and whoever was playing that thing was so terrible, couldn't even died constantly.
Sounds like they would have played Doom.
Seeing these so-called professionals being me as a 6-year-old would have been better at a game than whoever was playing that crap, and these people can't even play games and review these games as sexist and whatever. it
Honestly,
really grinds my gears.
they're the ones who are calling the red flag on these video games because nobody else, quote unquote, does it. And the reason why nobody else, quote unquote, does it is because we all actually enjoy playing these games. If you notice the games that, let's just say Anita Sarkeesian, for example, the games that she actually likes to play are rated E for everyone. She doesn't like the mature title games, and let's face it, I don't think a lot of women would like the mature title setting games because not a lot of women are into the sexy women posing. They're not into the gore-horrific violence. They're not into like a lot of stuff that's being portrayed in these titles, in these triple titles, like God of War, Dragon Age, Mass Effect, Batman Arkham Asylum, all these games out there that are AAA titles that are mature ratings or at least teen rated and higher. They don't like these games because they don't like the idea that people have the freedom to play such games. I actually am thoroughly pissed that these women, that these croons were sitting there screaming misogyny over Extreme Volleyball 3, a game I actually do enjoy playing. I like the costumes that they have. I like looking at the bikinis because as an artist myself, I love to see the point of view that these guys put together for the swimsuits and stuff. Not all the swimsuits are skimpy ass strings. There's like one or two characters who in the whole DOA line of extreme beach volleyball actually wears string bikinis. Just one or two
Yeah,
of them. And
I do.
they're
It
all
also
cute.
was.
For me, it's like summer
I,
shopping for bikinis.
Yeah, it's the opposite. I would say it's the exact opposite of sexism, misogyny. They're appreciating women that they included a game just with women in them.
Well,
Like
the one thing that I would actually make fun of the extreme beach volleyball games for the most was the huge jiggle physics on the boobs.
that's just funny.
That was hilarious. Like that was the one thing I would laugh about a lot. And I hang out with a lot of male friends. And you know what? We'd all laugh about the jiggle physics, but we'd also appreciate the costumes. We appreciated playing the mini games as well as the actual beach volleyball games too. Like those were fun. That was actually fun for me to do. I had no problems for the game whatsoever. And I get pissed because a bunch of croons decided to say sexist, misogyny, rapist, murderers at this game, which doesn't have any of that stuff involved whatsoever, and frightened a game developer for the United States into not releasing it to the public. I was pissed. Okay?
Yeah, I mean, you also.
I, a female, a feminist, a gamer, was pissed because of what they did.
Yeah, but you also had Fire Emblem's Fates and other games that are getting censored, like the one game mechanic where they switch genders and because it was too rapey in Fire Emblem's Fates, which I do not get at all.
I've played Fire Emblem Fates and I didn't see anything that was considered rapey in the entire video game itself.
Well, they removed it, that's why.
Yeah, if you want to know about a rape game itself, it was Rape Molest, where you were actually playing as a rapist, stalking this family of women because the husband died and it's just a mother and her two daughters. You're molesting the girls, you're molesting the mother, and you're raping all three of them. And you're gaining points for that. For me, that is actually going too far. And it's one game I'm actually really happy that never left the shelves because of the entire context of that game.
Yeah, that's really poor taste. I would never play a game like that, to be honest.
I really don't think anybody outside of a small perverted group of Japanese individuals would have played that game.
Yeah, I mean, they did try to like stop hatred from coming out. I mean, we had these so-called social justice warriors who removed GTA 5 from Target in Australia, which was also a big thing. Trying to censor. And I hear this all the time that it's not censorship because it's from the government, so it's not censorship. Bull fucking crap. You're trying to censor things you don't like and don't want to see it anywhere. So
It's not censorship because of the government. Well, then let's go ahead and look at a government in, let's just say, North Korea. Let's look at what they can do. Oh, they can only watch 3 channels that are approved by the government itself. But they're not allowed to watch anything that's involved whatsoever for the United States because all that gets censored out. But, it's not censorship because the government censored it.
and you also had was it a college or a high school that banned To Kill a Mockingbird and Huckleberry Finn because they were.
That was a Virginia high school that I saw pulling those books.
In Virginia, was it high school or a college?
It was high school. It was a high school that was pulling those books, and
Jeez.
I think the reason why they had stated that they pulled it is because of the books contained the word nigger in it. Now, as somebody who actually despised Kill a Mockingbird because of the slow, draw-out way that my English teacher decided to teach everybody about this particular book, I learned that the Kill a Mockingbird book itself is not as bad as you think it is. Not to the black people, at the very least. You have a guy who is white, always walking around with a bottle in a brown paper bag, being drunk off his ass. He goes home every single night to his black wife and mixed children. You find out that this white, cis, straight male carries around the brown paper bag and the bottle inside and acts like a stumbling idiot because he is actually protecting his wife, who is black, his kids, who are mixed. He's playing the view of being the drunken idiot to protect his family. A white, straight, cis male is looked the other way. Oh, he's just a drunkard, so he doesn't know what he's doing. That is the image he's portraying to the rest of the town because he doesn't want the rest of the town go off and kill his family. So, yeah, let these schools pull these books off the shelves because there's no way that the kids of today's society would be able to understand the meaningful lessons in these particular stories. And for the time period that To Kill a Mockingbird was written at, that was a huge deal.
And it wasn't as big of a controversy, but it was here and in Sweden where they removed Negro from the Pippi Longstocking original works because that's how the language was like 50 years ago when they were written. And they censored Negro from because there's one guy called the Negro King. It's not nigger or anything. It's just Negro King, basically black king, and they censored it because it was too racial insensitive.
I would love to see people try to censor my name because I do plan on changing my name at some point in the future. To where it'd be, I don't know, nigger. Like I'll have the word nigger somewhere in my name. I would love people to try and see about censoring my name when I change it. Because it's literally, It literally, the word nigger means black. It is a gosh, I wish I knew what language it was from now, but it's a term used to describe black, to describe a color which is black, much like noir or negro or my favorite one happens to be the infamous world actor known as Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Universe himself. His last name literally translates to black. You take out Schwartz, you got nigger.
Yeah, Schwartz means black, and Schwarzenegger, yeah, which also means black. Yeah,
It's
I never thought of
black.
it that way.
How the hell would you censor out his name in future generations of movies and stuff when he's been in hundreds of movies? Like, he was in almost every single action film that was in the 80s, and he was in several films in the 90s, and he's been in a small handful in the early millennial area. But how would you actually censor that? Like, you really could not censor that because of the fact that it's his last name. You're going to have somebody go in and scribble out every single Schwarzenegger in his name so that it just reads Arnold, and people won't know him anymore. And that's actually taking away credit from an actor for playing his role. You cannot do that.
Yeah, it's something interesting. I haven't watched the entire thing, but something profound John Peterson said, because he's been a lot in the public attention lately, all of the conscious of the of at least free speech, and he said, like, if he had a patient was had a lot of anxiety, let's say the parents neglected this child and had trouble socializing, so he couldn't even present themselves. So he would then say, yeah, well, let's practice here in our safe office, and you can present yourself, and let's do this a few times, and then you go and to a party, just stay 30 minutes and just present yourself to 2 people, and then next time you stay for an hour and present yourself for 3 or 4, and you get more confidence in the person. So you don't make the world, you make the person bigger to handle the world. That's how you build strong persons and good individuals. You don't make the world smaller and so-called safer, because the world isn't safe. The world is constantly trying to kill you, quite literally, with either weather, radiation, sickness, whatever. You can't just stay inside all the time and live the sheltered lives, because that's stupid, to be honest. Of course, there are people with anxiety. I'm not saying they're stupid or anything. I'm talking specifically about the social justice warriors.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? They can keep doing that. Keep talking whatever you want. And they're really not paying attention to individuals like you or myself. And the very few times that they are, it's because their followers are saying, well, this person said this about you. I'm actually kind of looking around on Twitter at this very moment, and I'm seeing a lot of people complaining about Christmas being a corporate-driven capitalism, and it's a corporate drive, a corporate war, and trying to sell the most merchandise before the end of the year, yada, yada. Yeah, that's what Christmas has turned into. And you have nobody else but the Christians, Catholics, just the Christians and Catholics to thank for that, because they're the ones who took this pagan holiday and turned it into something that it's not. They're sitting there saying, oh, this is the birth of Jesus and yada, 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 when it really is not. And I kind of started this trend. I'm trying to start this trend on Twitter itself. Hashtag appropriate Christmas 2016. Because it's not really a Christian holiday. It is Yule. And it's actually celebrated on the 21st this year. not the 25th. So,
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Again, that's the right wing conspiracy, where all this happy holidays is suddenly a conspiracy of you're censoring and all this kind of crap, and Christmas has become they're basically the reason that this is happening. So we've gone long enough. I just wanted to before we close down. We were gone over an hour, overstay our welcome, to be honest.
yeah.
Because I think we have had an interesting conversation. But I actually during the stream I just checked my channel, and I saw that actually one of the so-called YouTube heroes has demonetized one of my videos.
Ooh. I would love to give me a link to that video, because I would totally love to completely destroy the YouTube hero for demonetizing your video.
I sent a review. That's why I was checking why or what was the reason, and actually someone clicked this video and said it was not advertiser friendly. So someone in the YouTube Hero program actually went into my video and flagged it.
So it's just received one flag?
It's at least one person. I'm sending this to you on Skype.
Okay.
So.
All right. So Pishan wants to know, what do I have to say about my name discriminating against trans dynamites? I'm going to say I'm not against trans dynamites, but I'm rather against non-explosive devices.
Yeah. So someone actually got triggered by one of my videos, actually reporting on some news, and that seems to be the too triggering for some people, actually trying to censor me.
Okay.
I'm gonna close on this. So I'm not gonna. I just wanted to mention that. Is there anything you want to like share before we close down the stream?
Follow this awesome dude. He is actually really good. It was actually really fun talking to you. If you want to find me, I am on YouTube as Tikibomber. I'm on Twitter at Tikibomber. I'm on Sea Lion Club at Tikibomber. I do have Tumblr, but I'm not giving that away because it's for roleplay purposes only. Stay awesome. All that other fun stuff.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, as I said, I linked your channel in the description. So if they wanna see your content, they're more willing, and they can do whatever they want. They can harass you all they want. Just kidding.
Yeah, come harass me.
Yeah. So thanks everyone for watching, and yeah, see you guys next time. Bye.